So would you like to read translation?
O Lord Sri Krishna, I am offering a prayer to you. Please let the bee of my mind be offered the nectarian honey of your lotus feet. One.
Oh, yeah.
Although Brahma in full samadhi cannot get a glimpse of even a ray of the effulgence from the tips of your toenails, still, O Achyuta, having heard of the ways of your astonishing mercy, I long to receive your grace. O Madhava, although I don't possess even a sesame seed of bhakti for you, still, by your inconceivable power, which makes the impossible possible, please fulfill the desires of my heart. Pretty humble. Although I don't possess even a sesame seed of bhakti for you. Hey Sanatana, because your lotus feet are filled with such wonderful rasa, let the bee of my mind always reside unwaveringly in that nectar which puts everything else to shame, for they are the essence of all sweetness. This is my only prayer.
Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande, Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande, Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande. मन मानस मधुकारम अर्पया मन मानस मधुकारम निज पद पंकज मकरंदे निज पद पंकज मकरंदे कृष्ण देव भवन्तं वन्दे यद्यपि समाधिषु विधिरपि पश्यति न तव न खगर्मरिचिं न तव न खगर्मरिचिं कृष्णदेव भवन्तं वन्दे कृष्णदेव भवन्तं वन्दे इदम इच्छामि निशम्य तवाच्युता इदम इच्छामि निशम्य तवाच्युता तदपि कृपाद्भुतवीक्षिं तदपि कृपाद्भुतवीक्षिं तदपि कृपाद्भुतवीक्षिं तदपि कृपाद्भुतवीक्षिं कृष्णदेव भवन्तं वन्दे भक्तिरुदञ्चति यद्यपि माधव न त्वयि मम तिलमात्रे कृष्णदेव भवन्तं वन्दे परमेश्वरता तदपि तवाधिक दुर्घट घटन विधात्री कृष्ण देव भवन्तं वन्दे कृष्ण देव भवन्तं वन्दे अयमविलोलतयाद्य सनातन कलिताद्भुतरसभारम् कृष्णदेव भवन्तं वन्दे निवसतु नित्यमिहामृतनिन्दिनी विन्दनमधुरिम सारम् कृष्णदेव भवन्तं वन्दे कृष्णदेव भवन्तं वन्दे ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय We can recite together. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayd Shinvatam swakatha Krishna punya shravana kirtana Hridyantasto bhadrani vidhunoti suhritsatam Nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्ठिकी ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you for your association. We are continuing our reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 16, Text 6, 1:16:6. How Parikshit received the age of Kali. Hare Krishna, Sattvat Prabhu, Piyush Prabhu, Adinath Krishna Prabhu, thank you for joining. We are reading Canto 1, Chapter 16, Text 6. Please repeat after me. Athavasya padambhoja makarandaliham satam kim manyairasadalapair आयुषो यद असद्वया अथवास्य पदाम्भोज मकरन्दलिहां सताम् किं मन्ये रसदालापैर् आयुषो यदसद्व्यया अथवास्य पदाम्भोज मकरन्दलिहां सताम् किं मन्ये रसदालापैर् आयुषो यदसद्वया अथवास्य पदाम्भोज मकरन्दलिहां सताम् किं मन्ये रसदालापैर् आयुषो यदसद्वया. Okay, word for word, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Athva, otherwise, asya, of his Lord Krishna's, pada amboja, lotus feet, makarandaliham, of those who lick the honey from such a lotus flower, satam, of those who are to exist eternally, Kim manyai. What is the use of anything else? Asat, illusory. Alapai, topics. Ayusha, of the duration of life. Yat, that which is. Asatvaya, unnecessary waste of life. Translation: the devotees of the Lord are accustomed to licking up the honey available from the lotus feet of the Lord. What is the use of topics which simply waste one's valuable life? Purport: Lord Krishna and his devotees are both on the transcendental plane. Therefore, the topics of Lord Krishna and of his pure devotees are equally good. The battle of Kurukshetra is full of politics and diplomacy, but because the topics are related with Lord Krishna, the Bhagavad Gita is therefore adored all over the world. There is no need to eradicate politics, economics, sociology, etc., which are mundane to the mundaners. To a pure devotee who is actually related with the Lord, such mundane things are transcendental if dovetailed with the Lord or with his pure devotees. We have heard and talked about the activities of the Pandavas, and we now are dealing with the topics of Maharaj Parikshit. But because all these topics are related to the Lord Sri Krishna, they are all transcendental. And pure devotees have great interest in hearing them. We have already discussed this matter in connection with the prayers of Bhishma Dev. Our duration of life is not very long, and there is no certainty of when we shall be ordered to leave everything for the next stage. Thus, it is our duty to see that not a moment of our life is wasted in topics which are not related with Lord Krishna. Any topic, however pleasant, is not worth hearing if it is devoid of its relation to Krishna. The spiritual planet Golok Vrindavan, the eternal abode of Lord Krishna, is shaped like the whirl of a lotus flower. Even when the Lord descends to any one of the mundane planets, he does so by manifesting his own abode as it is. Thus, his feet remain always on the same big whirl of the lotus flower. His feet are also as beautiful as the lotus flower. Therefore, it is said that Lord Krishna has lotus feet. A living being is eternal by constitution. He is, so to speak, in the whirlpool of birth and death due to his contact with material energy. Freed from such material energy, a living entity is liberated and is eligible to return home, back to Godhead. Those who want to live forever without changing their material bodies should not waste valuable time with topics other than those relating to Lord Krishna and his devotees. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Vancha kalpatarubhesha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you for your association. So, in this purport, today we are seeing that Lord Krishna and his devotees are both on the transcendental plane, and hearing about any one of them is equally good. So I was thinking we can read some verses from Bhagavad Gita where it is mentioned how a devotee becomes on the transcendental plane by following Krishna. So there are some verses. in chapter 4, text number 14 and 15. So, text chapter 4, text number 14. Na mam karmani limpanti, na me karma phale spriha, iti mam yo bhijanati, karma bhir na sabadhyate. Would you like to read translation?
There is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruitive reactions of work.
Yeah, so Krishna himself is not looking for any fruitive results because he is self satisfied. And when we understand this fact about Krishna, then we also become transcendental. We also do not look after the fruitive activities. We are not attached to the results, fruitive results. Let's read the purport. Yes, bro.
As there are constitutional laws in the material world stating that the king can do no wrong, or that the king is not subject to the state laws, similarly, the Lord, although he is the creator of this material world, is not affected by the activities of the material world. He creates and remains aloof from the creation, whereas the living entities are entangled in the fruitive results of material activities because of the propensity for lording over material resources. The proprietor of an establishment is not responsible for the right and wrong activities of the workers, but the workers are themselves responsible. The living entities are engaged in their respective activities of sense gratification, and these activities are not ordained by the Lord. For advancement of sense gratification, the living entities are engaged in the work of this world, and they aspire to heavenly happiness after death. The Lord, being full in himself, has no attraction for so-called heavenly happiness. The heavenly demigods are only his engaged servants. The proprietor never desires the low-grade happiness such as the workers may desire. He is aloof from the material actions and reactions. For example, the rains are not responsible for different types of vegetation that appear on the earth, although without such rains, there is no possibility of vegetative growth. Vedic Smriti confirms this fact as follows. Nimitta matram evasau shrijyanam shriyanam sargakarmani pradhana karani bhuta yato vai shriya shaktaya. In the material creations, the Lord is only the supreme cause. The immediate cause is material nature, by which the cosmic manifestation is made visible. The created beings are of many varieties, such as the demigods, human beings, and lower animals, and all of them are subject to the reactions of their past good or bad activities. The Lord only gives them the proper facilities for such activities and the regulations of the modes of nature, but he is never responsible for their past and present activities. In the Vedanta Sutra, it is confirmed, Vaishamya Nairguniya na sap na sape shatva. The Lord is never partial to any living entity. The living entity is responsible for his own acts. The Lord only gives him facilities through the agency of material nature, the external energy. Anyone who is fully conversant with all the intricacies of the law of karma or fruitive activities does not become affected by the results of his activities. In other words, the person who understands this transcendental nature of the Lord is an experienced man in Krishna consciousness, and thus he is never subjected to the laws of karma. One who does not know the transcendental nature of the Lord and who thinks that the activities of the Lord are aimed at fruitive results are the activities of the ordinary living entities certainly becomes entangled himself in fruitive reactions. But one who knows the supreme truth is a liberated soul fixed in Krishna consciousness.
Thank you. So we can see many people who are working hard for material progress, for economic growth. So because that's the best happiness they can see in this material world. But when they come in touch with Krishna consciousness in terms of chanting Hare Krishna, hearing about Krishna, tasting Krishna Prasadam, then they get a higher taste. So simply by honoring Prasadam, simply by listening to Krishna Katha and hearing kirtans, one um, viscerally, one within knows that this is a higher taste, one feels a higher satisfaction. So one may not even read Vedic literature so much, but simply by coming in touch with these activities, one develops a higher taste. So one who has developed this taste about hearing about Krishna, he is no longer attached to the fruitive results. We see in India many times people work hard for the family, so that they want to provide the best for the kids, for the next generation, because they have developed some higher taste in duty. So if that is also based on dharma, because they are following a dharmic life, following their parents, so they develop some taste in it. So similarly, we can develop taste in serving Krishna, then we won't be attached to getting the results from our duty, not only in our immediate family, but also in our larger family, as in terms of preaching. When we go out for sharing Krishna consciousness, many times we give books, or many times we try to invite people, but people do not respond as much as we want them to respond or reciprocate. But because we are doing this in for pleasing Krishna, or for pleasing the devotees of Krishna, we will no longer be dejected. Prabhupada said this, that go out for distributing Krishna consciousness. Don't worry if people do not reciprocate. Do it as a duty for Krishna. Do it to please Krishna, not for the results. There was a time when His Holiness Indradyumna Maharaj said this quote. He said, "We should not be too greedy to get the fruits of the seeds we sow." So we might sow the seeds for somebody's devotional service in this life, but we should not be so greedy to want the fruits of that particular tree. It will take time for a person to grow in Krishna consciousness. So we are going out and distributing books. We are doing our programs in universities, in the temple, home programs. So people are getting Krishna consciousness. They are receiving mercy of Krishna. But in this lifetime, for that bhakti to grow and fructify, it may be this lifetime, next lifetime, or 100 lifetimes from today. We don't know. Our pleasure and happiness and satisfaction should come from doing this duty, and from the superiors, pleasing Krishna's devotees. Next verse, text 15. एवं ज्ञात्वा कृतं कर्म पूर्वैरपि मुमुक्षुभिः कुरु कर्मैव तस्मात् त्वं पूर्वतरं कृतम्. All the liberated souls in ancient times acted with this understanding of my transcendental nature. Therefore, you should perform your duty, following in their footsteps. Would you like to read purport? 4:15.
There are two classes of men. Some of them are full of polluted material things within their hearts, and some of them are materially free. Krishna consciousness is equally beneficial for both of these persons. Those who are full of dirty things can take to the line of Krishna consciousness for a gradual cleansing process, following the regulated principles of devotional service. Those who are already cleansed of the impurities may continue to act on the same Krishna consciousness, so that others may follow their exemplary activities and thereby be benefited. Foolish persons or neophytes in Krishna consciousness often want to retire from activities without having knowledge of Krishna consciousness. Arjuna's desire to retire from activities on the battlefield was not approved by the Lord. One need only know how to act. To retire from the activities of Krishna consciousness and to sit aloof, making a show of Krishna consciousness, is less important than actually engaging in the field of activities for the sake of Krishna. Arjuna is here advised to act in Krishna consciousness, following in the footsteps of the Lord's previous disciples, such as the sun god Vivaswan, as mentioned hereinbefore. The Supreme Lord knows all his past activities, as well as those of persons who acted in Krishna consciousness in the past. Therefore, he recommends the acts of the sun god, who learned this art from the Lord some millions of years before. All such students of Lord Krishna are mentioned here as caste-liberated persons engaged in the discharge of duties allotted by Krishna.
So we can see Krishna is saying here that one should follow the path of great souls. There are many, many great souls who are engaged in Krishna service, who are liberated. They are doing service in this material world as demigods or in the spiritual world, or at both places. Devotees can expand themselves like Krishna does. So if we follow their path, we will also get the same result. All the liberated souls in ancient times acted with this understanding of my transcendental nature. Therefore, you should perform your duty following in their footsteps. So we might not immediately see how it will be, how will we be liberated by doing this activity, but simply by following these great souls as a duty, we will realize this um, liberated position. Um, it's called Vaidhi Bhakti. Vaidhi Bhakti means we follow the regulated lifestyle. That's why we try to go to bed early and try to go for Mangalarti. Although we might not be so. Today I was sleeping until 4, so because Vijay Prabhu, we could get up and go for Mangalarti. So we are trying to follow the footsteps of Vijay Prabhu and similar devotees, so that gradually we develop taste for attending morning program, and then we won't be so much attached to the results. How does it help me theoretically? Oh, I will be liberated after this life. Naturally we will get pleasure by serving Krishna. We don't even have to look for the rewards theoretically. So also it doesn't mean that we just retire from activities. Spiritual life means we engage all our activities in Krishna service. So in this chapter beginning, when Sutta Goswami is reciting that Parikshit Maharaj actually punished this Shudra or the low class man who is trying to harm the cow and the bull by hitting them at their legs. So the rishis are asking, oh, why didn't he kill him? He should have been killed. He can't imagine. Shaunak Rishi is not able to imagine that such person is allowed to live by the king. So in the next, that was in the last verse, and in this today's verse, he is saying, please narrate us these topics. Why did he not kill him? Now, why would a devotee be interested in hearing about these so-called maybe management things in the, or what do you say, the administration of the world? And he is clarifying in this verse that the devotees of the Lord are accustomed to licking up the honey available from the lotus feet of the Lord. What is the use of topics which simply waste one's valuable life? In the last verse, Shaunak Rishi said, please narrate this only if it is related to Lord Krishna. He's giving a disclaimer. Yeah, please explain this only if it is related to Lord Krishna. By hearing about Krishna, Janma Karma Chame Divyam Evam Yoveti Tatvata Tyaktva Deham Punarjanma Naiti Mameti So Arjuna. So if we hear about the birth and activities of Lord Krishna, then we do not get another body. After leaving this present body, we do not take another material body. As Prabhupada says later in this purport, we get a spiritual body. So how does such a person act who is following this duty? How does such a person act? This is from chapter 5 Bhagavad Gita, text 8 and 9. This is translation. A person in the divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping, and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects and that he is aloof from them. Purport: a person in Krishna consciousness is pure in his existence, and consequently he has nothing to do with any work which depends upon 5 immediate and remote causes: the doer, the work, the situation, the endeavor, and fortune. This is because he is engaged in the loving transcendental service of Krishna. Although he appears to be acting with his body and senses, he is always conscious of his actual position, which is spiritual engagement. In material consciousness, the senses are engaged in sense gratification, but in Krishna consciousness, the senses are engaged in the satisfaction of Krishna's senses. Therefore, the Krishna conscious person is always free, even though he appears to be engaged in affairs of the senses. Activities such as seeing and hearing are actions of the senses meant for receiving knowledge, whereas moving, speaking, evacuating, etc., are actions of the senses meant for work. A Krishna conscious person is never affected by the actions of the senses. He cannot perform any act except in the service of the Lord because he knows that he is the eternal servitor of the Lord. When I was with the Davis Brahmacharis, so when Subarnabindu Prabhu would go to bed, he would say, "Now I am going to sleep for the pleasure of Krishna," as a service. So, so that he can rise and do his services. So it is important to do all these activities in relationship with Krishna. Seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping and breathing. All these activities in relationship with Krishna. Next verse, text 10. Brahmani adaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti ya lipyate na sa papena padam patram ivambasa. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. Purport. Yes.
Here, Brahmani means in Krishna consciousness. The material world is a sum total manifestation of the three modes of material nature, technically called the pradhan. The Vedic hymns Sarvangi Etat Brahma from the Mandukya Upanishad, Tasmat Etat Brahma Nama Rupam Annam Cha Jayate, also from Mandukya Upanishad, and in the Bhagavad Gita 14.3, Mama Yonir Mahat Brahma indicate that everything in the material world is a manifestation of Brahman, and although the effects are differently manifested, they are non-different from the cause. In the Ishopanishad, it is said that everything is related to the Supreme Brahman or Krishna, and thus everything belongs to him only. One who knows perfectly well that everything belongs to Krishna, that he is the proprietor of everything and that, therefore, everything is engaged in the service of the Lord, naturally has nothing to do with the results of his activities, whether virtuous or sinful. Even one's material body, being a gift of the Lord for carrying out a particular type of action, can be engaged in Krishna consciousness. It is then beyond contamination by sinful reactions, exactly as the lotus leaf, though remaining in the water, is not wet. The Lord also says in the Gita, Mai Sarvani Karmani Sannyasa, resigns all work unto me. The conclusion is that a person without Krishna consciousness acts according to the concept of the material body and senses. But a person in Krishna consciousness acts according to the knowledge that the body is the property of Krishna and should therefore be engaged in the service of Krishna.
Yeah, so we see in this purport, Prabhupada gave the example of lotus, the world of the lotus flower. The spiritual world is like a lotus flower, Golok Vrindavan, and Krishna's feet are on the whirl of the lotus flower. When he comes to this material world, he brings this his own spiritual planet. So we have this Bhaume Vrindavan in India, and there Krishna brings his own abode. So Krishna's feet are known as lotus feet, and all the devotees are known as the bees. So that's why we sang that song, Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Rupa Goswami is praying to Krishna that let my mind, which is like a bee, be always be licking honey from the lotus, from your lotus feet. So similarly, devotees who are acting purely in service of Krishna, their life is like Padam Patram Ivambasa. Just like a lotus leaf is untouched by water, it has a shiny surface. Even if there is some water that goes on the lotus leaf, it just glides down. It cannot stick because of the surface of the lotus leaf. Similarly, a devotee who is 100% engaged in serving Krishna, the fruitive results, they do not, he is not attached to the results of those activities. He performs them in alignment with desire of his spiritual master or Krishna. So Prabhupada says in this purport, politics, economics, sociology, There is no need to eradicate them. The idea is they have to be connected with Krishna. So in this Srimad Bhagavatam, we have read about Pandavas. We are going to read about Parikshit Maharaj. So we have read about politics in Mahabharata. We have heard about politics, but because it is connected to Sri Krishna, it is purifying. So in the prayers of Bhishma Dev, they were spoken on a battlefield after the battle was finished, because it was in connection with Lord Krishna, so it is purifying. Sociology, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam talks so many different aspects of sociology. There are descriptions of different kind of people in the kingdom. When Lord Krishna came back to Dwarka, there were dancers, there were people who were even prostitutes, and there were people who were brahmanas, sages. All of them came to greet Krishna into the kingdom. So all of these were there. They were given their respective occupation so that they can gradually grow in Krishna's service. So none of the occupation is denied. So to say, that's what Prabhupada is saying. Politics, sociology. One may be a scientist, one may be a data scientist or an AI scientist. Any of this, if it is used in relationship with Krishna, it becomes purified. So we can utilize all these tools to glorify Krishna consciousness. Um, And then Prabhupada says in this purport that our duration of life is not very long, and there is no certainty of when we shall be ordered to leave everything for the next stage. Thus, it is our duty to see that not a moment of our life is wasted in topics which are not related with Lord Krishna. Any topic, however present, is not worth hearing if it is devoid of its relation to Krishna. There is a nice verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2. It talks about Ayur Harti Vai Pumsam Udyan Astam Chiyanaso Tasyar Te Yachanonita Uttama Shlok Vartya. It means the sun, by rising and by setting, is gradually taking away our life. Ayur Harti. With every sunrise and sunset, we lose one more day in our life. Prabhupada says that the death is not the final change. We are dying every day. Every day our life is reducing. Every moment we are dying. If a person has lived for 37 years, he has already died 37 years. So every moment our life is taken away by the sun, simply by rising and by setting. Except those, tasyarte yachanonita uttam shlokvartya, except those people who are always engaged in discussing the subject matters of uttama shlok, one Krishna who is glorified by selected prayers. Because such a person is reviving his spiritual body. So many people say, oh, Krishna consciousness, people, many times parents say, you just do it little bit. You do it for 5 minutes in a day or 10 minutes in a day. That's sufficient. Krishna is not so demanding. But actually, spiritual life is a preparation. One has to revive one's spiritual body. One has to accrue a lot of spiritual credits so that at the end of life, one can remember Krishna. So revival of spiritual body, it's like accruing a lot of spiritual credits. We heard in Canto 10, Shukdev Goswami explains about the friends of Krishna who are playing with him. So he says that these people have amassed huge heaps of pious credits. That's why they are able to play with Krishna, with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we want to amass huge, big heaps of spiritual credits of Krishna Katha or the Bhakti Sukriti, so that we can revive our spiritual body. All these activities give blood to our spiritual body. It's called Chid Rakta, spiritual blood. So Prabhupada is saying, not we should make sure that not a moment is wasted, that when we are not hearing about Krishna. Life is so precious. Another verse that Shukdev Goswami says in this connection is Shrotra Shrota Shrotrayadini Rajendra Ninam Santi Suhasrsha Apashyatam Atma Tattvam Griheshu Grihe Medinam. That those people who are attached to worldly affairs, they have thousands of subject matters to discuss. He's talking to Parikshit Maharaj. Ninam Santi Sahasrasha. They have thousands of topics. So earlier on the TV set, there were only two channels. When I was growing up, there was DD1 and DD2 in India. And later on, there were some more channels, maybe 5 or 10 channels. But now we have more than 1,000 or maybe even more. So it's so difficult. So there are thousands of subject matters to discuss. There is history channel, there is a fashion channel, there's soaps, all kinds of different soaps. There's drama, there's tragedies, horror, comics shows, podcasts about the politics going on in the world, what's going to happen, about the climate. So there are thousands of subject matters to discuss for people who are engaged in worldly affairs. Apashyatam Atma Tattvam. They are not looking about Atma, that I am not this body. Ultimately, I am here for only a flash. Compared to the geographical time, we are here only for 5 minutes. The body will go away. So they are not looking over the Atma Tattva. Apashyatam Atma Tattvam. Griheshu Griha Medinam. Who are those people who are attached to staying in the home and the comfort of the home, the cozy comfort? Okay, these people, this home will protect me. This refrigerator full of vegetables, full of groceries will protect me. My bank balance will protect me. My relatives will protect me. But none of this will protect us when there's time to go. So Prabhupada is saying that we should constantly engage in hearing about Krishna. And then there's a verse in Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 15, which talks about 1 to 15. Could you pull it up, 1 to 15? It talks about divinity and divine service, that people who are really serious about going back home, back to Godhead, they would take interest in hearing about Krishna. Could you read through take 1 to 15 translation?
With sword in hand, intelligent men cut through the binding knots of reactionary work, karma, by remembering the personality of Godhead. Therefore, who will not pay attention to his message?
Yeah. So who will not pay attention to Krishna's message? We know that simply by hearing about Krishna, we can cut the knots of reactionary work. We cannot cut this karma by our own endeavor. Only by hearing about Krishna, we can cut this hard knot of material desires. Even in this age, which is full of quarrel and hypocrisy, still people are able to dedicate their life. We have so many nice examples in front of us. We have so many luminaries in front of us. So by hearing about Krishna, they have done it. So we should follow in their footsteps. Mahajano yen gata sapantha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Open to any corrections, comments, reflections, complaints.
I will share one thing about what you said, bro. You said about Indrajit Maharaj talking about sowing the seeds.
Ah.
So I remember near my grandparents' home, some of the people who owned the land before had had grown sandalwood and mangoes, mango tree, but they never got to enjoy the fruits of that because my grandfather purchased the land. But we were able to enjoy the fruits of the seeds that were sown by somebody else. So all of the effort was put in by the initial disciples of Prabhupada, like Chaitanya Marathon and writing the Bhagavatam and everything, and we are reaping the fruits now. I resonated with that point.
Yeah, beautiful point, bro. Yeah, they say standing on the shoulders of the giants, yeah, but we stand on the feet of the giants. We actually bow down in the feet of the giants. That's our philosophy. And that's why it's called descending process. We are not ascending.
Yeah.
They are trying to ascend. They, they are trying to do better, and they're known as ascending masters, something called ascending masters. But we are descending. We accept this great parampara, the line of teachers who are bringing us Krishna consciousness from time immemorial in the mode of disciplic succession, and we want to be at their feet. That's why it is called, Prabhupada is known as Prabhupada, one at whose feet all the devotees take shelter, Prabhupada. So we want to take shelter of such devotees. It is also said by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur that the success of one's life is if we can become dust at the lotus feet of Rupa Goswami. We are known as Rupanugas because we follow the mood of Rupa Goswami. If we can just become the dust at the lotus feet of Rupa Goswami, then our life is successful. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Yes, Raghunesh Prabhu.
Just thinking about that logical conclusion we gave earlier. We are only here for like so little time. It's kind of unfathomable that we strive to endeavor so much for anything other than Krishna consciousness, or even take away Krishna consciousness, but God consciousness or some kind of higher purpose. Because if you're only going to be here, even if you're an atheist, you realize that I'm only going to be here for a little bit of time. Let me at least come to a logical conclusion about what's going to happen, about the infinite time, if not long span of time that comes after my life. Right? But so many people they just kind of ignore it, and when you bring it up, they say, "Oh, that's bogus. That's why would you waste your time?" It's kind of unfathomable. I've tried to explain sometimes to people, and they say, "Well, I don't care about it." It's just so surprising.
Yeah, that is so true. I was listening to this class by His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. He gave a class in UC Davis, how to achieve peace, how to be peaceful in this world which is always full of changes and turmoil. So he gave a formula of ACT, A is acceptance, and C was commitment, and T was transcendence. So acceptance means that we accept the current situation. We do not attach ourselves with the current situation, or we do not resent the current situation. We accept it, that this is how things are. This is out of my circle of influence. And then C was commitment. At the same time, one should have a commitment to some higher purpose. Commitment is, Prabhu, I think as far as I remember, said commitment. Yeah. So he said in this world there are three main things: soul, super soul, and the material world. So material world we cannot control. Other things, so we should accept it. Acceptance. Do not get attached to the material world. Do not resent the material world either. But personally, we can have a commitment. We can take charge of our own growth. We can modify our life. So that's called commitment. Have a higher purpose in life. And T was transcendence, that connect with the super soul or the divinity. That's what he was saying, divinity. So this divinity is different for different people, but have some sense of a superior power who is providing us. Of course, now people might not have an ultimate goal, that this ultimate goal is to go back to the spiritual world, but you can have an immediate goal. I just want to improve myself in this way. Somebody asked this question during that seminar: who is that transcendence? Whom should I approach? So Chaitanya Charan Prabhu said, at least make the first step. You don't have to go to the final conclusion. Just make an inquiry. Just start the process somewhere. Start wherever you are. So he gave this example: when we go to a college, when we want to apply for a college, there are so many universities in the world. Do I wait for me to come to a conclusion that this is the best university and I'm just stuck. I will just go there and nowhere else. No, we do our best. We see our progress and we try to get the best school where we can go. So similarly in spiritual life also, we should not be hung up on finding up, okay, what is the best process, and then I will start my journey. He said, okay, Bhagavad Gita is well acknowledged as a spiritual text. You can start, you can discuss, and you will get the revelations. If you don't get the revelations, you will know that this is not your path. You can go somewhere else. So at least we should start, make our first step. Yeah. So thank you so much. That's true. It's a valid point, and that's why we are sharing this Krishna consciousness in so many different formats. We have corporate outreach. We have in temple. There is a different way to present. In the corporates, there is a different way to present. When we go out in book distribution, there is a different way to present, because we want to give them some level which they can appreciate. That's called an art of preaching, art of realization. How do we present it in a way that the immediate person can appreciate? Nice. Hare Krishna. Viju Prabhu, do you have any corrections? Okay. Anybody online? We can take one last reflection, question, corrections. Rahul Prabhu, Piyush Prabhu, Adinath Krishna Prabhu, Satwat Prabhu, do you have anything?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dhanyavad Pranam.
Krishna, Piyush Prabhu, Dhanvat Pranam.
Thank you for wonderful lecture, Prabhu, and sharing your insight on it. I just one thing, like, I mean, probably we hear several times. I would like to hear from you, Prabhu, like your insight on it. Like, you are doing your duty, you figure out, okay, you're doing bit by bit, you're trying to do it consistently, but now how to continue it consistently with same enthusiasm, like, with ups and downs and like things in life. What would you recommend, Prabhu?
Very beautiful. How do we keep the enthusiasm in devotional service? Whatever progress we are making in our situation, how do we keep the same enthusiasm? Uh, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu mentioned this quadrant of contribution and recognition. Many times in this world we get enthusiasm because we are recognized for our service. So he said, the more our satisfaction comes from the service itself, the more we will be happy in our service. So the more we depend on the recognition from the material world, the more we will be dissatisfied. That's why we have this famous verse in Shiksha Amrita, Shikshashtakam, Trinadapi Sune Chena Tarorapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena, that we do not expect respect, but we are ready to offer respect to others. So if we can chant our rounds sincerely, and we can pray to Krishna, please give me the satisfaction in the service itself, then we can continue it with the same enthusiasm. So one thing is chanting and praying for it. Second thing is we can associate with those people who are serving for a long time with the ever increasing enthusiasm, or with the same enthusiasm. So by their association we can actually get the same taste. And third thing is serving those devotees. By serving devotees we get blessings. I heard this seminar by His Holiness um, Badrinaran Maharaj. From San Diego. His name is Badrinaran. Yes, he gave a class in Los Angeles, how to become a leader in ISKCON. He said when you try to lead any projects, you will face a lot of criticism. But one should do it. One should do this service because I have this privilege to be servant of the devotees. As a leader, one should think that I am privileged to serve these devotees. This is a privilege. Even though I might be criticized or I might not get recognized, but if we can just see this, these all devotees are better than kings, and I have this nice opportunity to serve them, then we can keep our enthusiasm in serving. Would you like to share anything?
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. We'll stop here. Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. Tomorrow we'll have class by His Grace Vishal Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Have a nice Krishna.